It is a glorious Wednesday evening. I'm going to do something I hardly ever do and take you out to take some pictures. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening on, Wednesday. Wednesday the something or other of March. And I just had an hour to come out and enjoy the weather and do some photography. And I thought I might, while I was doing it, let you know what I'm looking for and what I do when I go out on a brief field trip in the afternoon. I don't have any expectations, but I do have some idea of what I'm going to find. Well, that's an expectation, isn't it? So I do have expectations after all. But mostly at this time of the year, it's going to be the early pollinators are out, bees. So I'm going to just look around, see what we can find, looking for bees, Diptera, flies. Every now and again, you'll find beetles at this time of year, but I'm not sure that we will today. It's been really wet and cold. So we'll see. We'll give it a chance. Somebody's proposing to somebody else right behind me, so I'd probably better get out of the way. Bees are usually a little bit too busy to care very much about what we're up to. But every now and again, you can just get a little bit too close to the flower that the bee's looking at, and he'll get obstreperous. And I'll have them get a little bit aggressive around here sometimes, but not often. And that's largely all I'm seeing. But this is actually my secret spot that I come to for agapostemon bees, for green sweat bees, stuff like that. It's a beautiful spot up on a bluff overlooking the sea. And normally here you can bet on finding quite a few solitary ground bees and wasps, but I haven't found anything up here today. Just some apis, a couple of bumblebees, not even the usual things that are eating them, the assassin bugs. I haven't seen a single one of those. Probably worth spending a couple of moments talking about my strategy when I come out, because there is a method to my madness. When I'm going somewhere I've never been before, it doesn't really matter. I do allow about twice as much time to explore. Even a small piece of land like this little park in the city, I'll give a couple of hours just to walk around it and see what's going on. But when I'm coming out to a place that I frequently come to and will normally take an hour to go from one end to the other very slowly, and then I retrace my steps because things change over the course of that hour, especially at sunset. So my piece of advice, if you're new to this, is don't change that ever. Don't get out of the car and see a bee somewhere off to the right and go hang out there for an hour. It never works for me. You've already put in the 50 times you've come here before, and you know that this is what works. So stick with it. That's what I'm going to do. It's not working today though. If you're new to field macro, do yourself a favor and get a nice camera and a good macro lens. Make that your first purchase, your first investment in the art of macro photography. You'll be so glad you did. It'll make the first few adventures out in nature a lot more memorable. And learn to take your time. You have to be able to slow down and let things happen around you in this game. There is absolutely no advantage to getting done quickly. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of why you're out here. This is an opportunity to really slow everything down and just look and observe and absorb what you see. And every now and again, take a picture. And that way, the good pictures will come to you. You don't have to do anything but be receptive to them. In this kind of warm, sunny evening, but still too early for most of the insects, you're going to see a lot of crane flies and other hanging flies in the long grass. There's a technique to photographing them that I'll talk about another time, but it involves scaring them up and chasing them down. I may have talked about it before, but anyway, I'm not seeing much but bees out here today. I'll try a little bit longer and get off the beaten path. The beaten path is, by the way, where everybody walks, and it's where everybody takes their pictures from. So even if there's nobody else out here, the pictures you're going to see in your location are probably going to be taken from the beaten path. Walk off into the woods, watch out for ticks and other dangerous things, and don't hurt yourself, but try to get a different perspective. It makes it more fun for you and the people who are looking at your pictures. And starting to see some more stuff coming out as the sun goes down. And to state the obvious, I'll probably do that. Pollinators, they like pollen. Well, they actually don't like pollen. They could care less about it. It probably is something they'd rather not have all over them, but they do like nectar. And that's where you're going to find them. So if you're looking for bees, go to flowers. That does sound kind of obvious, doesn't it? But maybe you didn't know that. There's a lot of bees right here. By the way, if you're walking around and you see one angry looking wasp down around your feet, you should consider the possibility that a wasp is around your foot. If there are two, you should consider the possibility that you just stepped on a nest and move away. They're ground nesters, and they will send out a couple of troops to see what's going on. And when they see something like me up there, they'll call the rest. So you want to be nowhere near them when that happens. There are two ways you can figure out what's going on in there. There's the smart way and there's my way. The smart way is to ask somebody who knows the area, what lives in the burrows up on the hill. And then there's my way, which is stick a stick down in it and see what comes out. Do I need to explain why you don't want to do that one? This is a wasp nest. I spoke a bit too soon earlier. Sun's going down fast, but still, it feels like springtime now. It didn't a week ago today. You can't see what I can see behind me. It's awfully pretty down there. Not the top of my head, the seaside part. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, I find interesting things up here all the time. It's my favorite place for the green bees. They're normally very plentiful here. Didn't see a one today though. And big, gorgeous banana spiders in this gentleman's gardens, his vegetation there around back of me. That's where those things live. And didn't see any today either. But another thing you absolutely don't want to step on is one of these. We have these imported fire ants here that will really do a number on you before you know you're being attacked. They will swarm you, and you don't have to be actually on the nest. You just have to be near it. So you've got to keep your eyes open. This video, by the way, is brought to you literally by the generosity of one of your bouncers. Bud Parrott provided the DJI Pocket Osmo that I'm filming on today, and glad to have back in service after what seemed like a long winter. So thank you, Bud. I really appreciate this. It makes very high quality video, and it's super easy to use. I'll often talk about data and bringing plenty of cards, plenty of batteries, that type of thing. That really isn't the case on an adventure like this. If I'm coming out for an hour and I run out of battery, I'm not using my judgment very well in shooting. Same thing with my card. If I fill a 64 gigabyte card in an hour walking around by the seaside in basically winter, I'm shooting too much. That's going to be controversial, but really, your best shots are going to come when you take the time to be selective. And being selective means you're not going to fill up a 64 gigabyte card in an hour. If you're shooting video like Amy is today, that's a completely different matter. Then you need to take all your cards and all your batteries, because you will go through them. But for stills, no, don't worry about that. Just take one battery, one card, and get good pictures. Like this ant. He's walking into the sunlight. If you take your time and slow down, you'll see things that you normally don't see. I do every time I go out. And it's a function of slowing down and paying attention, but it's also the source of the pleasure for me. The question that I'm often asked is, how many pictures do I have to take to get a keeper in field macro? I am confident in saying that it is directly proportional to several aspects of my mood. In other words, how I'm feeling is going to have a bigger impact on whether or not I get good photographs than what is out here. And I'm not kidding. There are some days when my heart's not in it, and I'm out here and I'm seeing perfect specimens of everything I love to shoot constantly, and I don't come home with a picture. And then there are other days I'll come out here just really feeling it, and oh, there's a gorgeous dragonfly. They normally don't come up here. Here's a trick. Get one picture from far away before you start closing in on your quarry, because you might be able to crop it in if it's sharp. Where was I? Yeah, the mood. If you're not in the mood to do it, skip it. Skip a day. Skip a week. But when you are, go out and enjoy it and take your time, because that's where all your good pictures will come from. It's really how a photographer expresses the fact that they are feeling good. That's how we show we're happy. We don't, well, I don't smile very much, but yeah, when I'm feeling good, I'm taking good pictures. But there's a little bit of insight, possibly a little strange. Just walking, how far away am I? 100 yards from where I was down on the bluff. Everything's different up here. A lot of terrestrial activity. Probably the best example that I can remember of that whole concept of taking good pictures when you're feeling it was one winter a couple of years ago when I went out to shoot a video. This was in January, and it was cold and windy, and there were no insects anywhere. And I spent half a day with a camera, and while I didn't really take any insect pictures, I took a lot of very pleasing and entertaining images that filled that video. And that's just one example of many of slowing down and letting the stuff come to you. I'm going to photograph this down tree. When you're out wandering and just soaking it in and seeing what's out here, and you're engrossed in what you're doing, and then one of your ankles gets between the sun and your subject, and suddenly you're in shadow, move your foot. Don't keep taking pictures. Move and let the sun hit the thing. That's our greatest ally when we're out here without a flash, is use the sun. As long as we've got it, use it. There'll be plenty of times that we don't. This is a rather famous rock for me. This piece of stone here, I don't know if you can see it. It's just a chunk of sandstone, I think. I came out here and I've done a bunch of videos out here. Sorry about that noisy motorbike, but I did one where I came out here and spent a few hours just photographing the things that I found on this rock, which filled a video. A lot of cool stuff. Proto-insects, a lot of really small things. But I think I've run out of light for today. I'll find something before I leave here. Here's a little known fact. In fact, it is so little known that I'm the only one who knows it. So it might not even be a fact. But in my experience, the cooler it is, the lower to the ground jumping spiders stay. In the summer, you'll find them high up in the trees, and they're easy to shoot at eye level. But this time of year, they're seldom more than 12 inches off the ground. I know that because my knee part of my trousers gets dirty when I'm photographing spiders in the wild. I would not trade having an hour out here for anything. I mean, it is absolutely glorious, a beautiful day, and there's nobody out here. Not that that's necessarily a good thing, but it is peaceful. Come on, insects, something interesting show up. My peeps want to see a picture. By the way, I didn't take a camera to Scotland or Iceland. You think that was stupid? I may rethink that and take it. I just hate the thought of the airlines being in charge of my lovely camera. That fills me with dread. That was my window seat, just got taken away for saying that. I think we've got another 10 minutes. A couple more of my little known facts that probably aren't facts, but they're truisms nonetheless. One of them is, you don't have to be a good photographer to have fun going out and taking pictures. You don't even have to be a good photographer to take good pictures. You don't have to be a good photographer to take the occasional great picture, but you do have to come out into nature and look around. You do have to try, but that's the great thing about macro photography to me, is it is unlike many other genres of photography. This is the great leveler. It makes the best photographers look terrible sometimes, but it also makes the newcomer look preternaturally gifted. And that's wonderful, and I'm so glad that that's the way it is. It keeps it surprising for everybody. But don't forget, none of that can happen. None of those cool things can happen unless you come out here and make the effort. And you'll get rewarded just for doing that. Ooh, here's a stump that looks slime moldier than all get out, and antier too. Let me have a quick go over this. Learn the rules of field macro photography. Learn what you're supposed to do to get good pictures, and then break them all the time with abandon, because your best pictures are going to come when you're not thinking about the rules. But if you don't know the rules, you don't practice them, and if you don't practice them, then the great shots may elude you. So the idea is learn them and practice them, and then when you go out and take pictures, forget about them. The important stuff will still be in your head. And it is, by the way, it's perfectly okay just to shoot light. If you see light that grabs you, take a picture of it. I think I'm about out of light, though. If you're just looking at the pictures from this camera, it'll be midnight tonight before you started to see any significant darkening of it. Two interesting things about shooting the last flowering bush of the day in your location. The first is all the bees will be here because they don't have anywhere else to go, which is a good thing. The second thing you'll discover is it's a quaintly sad kind of feeling being at the last bush that's getting hit by the sun, because it passes very quickly. In fact, while I was saying that. But don't quit taking pictures just yet. You'll actually find that the light immediately after the sun goes down is even better than it was while it was still up. So don't forget that. When you're done for the day, maybe take 5 minutes without the camera. There's something we learn from doing that. Take a few minutes to just look around and see the stuff that when you've got a camera in hand is too far away to be of interest to you. And remember it. Even though I was out here for a couple of hours, I didn't really get any photographs. And in the truest sense of the word, it doesn't matter. That's not one word, is it? That's many words. In the truest sense of these words, that doesn't matter. What matters is I came and I tried and I enjoyed every minute of it. And one of these days I'll come out here and try again, and I'll find something I'm looking for. But for now, I'm done. I have no more wisdom to share, and it is late and I have to get home because I'm meeting with my mentor this evening, and that waits for no man. But there was one last thought I wanted to leave you with. If you enjoy macro photography and you like to think of yourself doing this for the rest of your life, like I do, go out when you want to. Don't go out when you don't. And when you're out there, shoot what you like. And treat every hour out there as if it's your last hour of macro photography. And you will never tire of it. I'll see you when I get back. Stay safe, be well.